I think we are almost on time, so I think we will just give a brief, for the benefit of, even for the audiences, what exactly, we thought about this particular webinar. We have been thinking about this since, some time, that how exactly the post-pandemic landscape of future of work, specifically in the manufacturing sector. We keep reading a lot, about what is happening in services sector and everything. But obviously, there is an option of working from home in those, in service sector, but which is absolutely not possible in manufacturing as a segment, right? So obviously, the way the HR team and the administration team have to handle this is a totally different, rather, compared to a services sector. So that is what we'll, discuss, and how exactly it will look like. The stepping stone to reach the post, obviously we would all love to reach that normalcy level, but obviously how exactly we do that in current scenario, and keeping all those things in, intact, to keep our safety intact, and how exactly we do so that there is not a repeat of what happened in the second wave, and how exactly we can move forward. We'll have to keep, coming back to office. And even I suppose that was my thought process earlier as well, that even the IT sector cannot survive only working from home. And I think that is also becoming very clear, where, TCS and Wipros of the world are asking people to come back and join office. But I think they have a lot to learn from manufacturing sector, which had been doing this even during the peak pandemic, and even, this specific time. So, I'll start with a small introduction, because though we had been discussing, but for the benefit of the audience, I will give a small introduction of all the panelists. So we'll start with Ms. Prableen Kaur. She comes with around 17 years of work experience, currently heading the HR and admin for Minda Corporation. And she's a versatile and experienced HR professional with a demonstrated track record of partnering with CEOs and management teams in matrix organizations to drive business performance across diverse industries and markets. She has previously worked with leading companies like Fredenberg, Columbia Asia Hospitals, Pan Asia Biotech, Federal Mughal, Mafo Management Consultants, and Hindustan Unilever. She is an MBA from Regional Institute of Management and Technology, ICF certified performance coach on emotional intelligence, and has completed many other certifications in HR domain. Welcome, Ms. Kaur.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Sujoy Banerjee comes with over 3 decades of work experience, and he is currently Group CPO and Group Marketing Head for Gainwell Commusales Private Limited. He is experienced in industrial relations in a multiple union environment, the entire bandwidth of HR processes, and organizational transformation and managing change. He is also currently serving as the Regional President East for NHRDN 21-23 and a recipient of multiple HR awards. He has previously worked with leading companies like Tata Motors, Dunlop, ICI, Philips, BOC, Organon, Bharat Engineering, and McNally Bharat, right? He holds a postgraduate diploma in personal management from Xavier XISS, and is also a certified executive coach from Coaching Foundation of India. Welcome, Mr. Banerjee. Mr. Ravindra Mishra comes with, again, another 3 decades of work experience, and he is currently the President HR for Garware Technical Fibers. He is a strong human resource professional, skilled in compensation, labor relations management, management information system, and business development. He has previously worked with leading companies like, Matrix Fertilizer and Chemical Limited, Suzlon Energy, and Tata Power Company. He holds an MTech degree in electrical engineering from IIT Bombay. Welcome, Mr. Mishra. Mr. Harish Shamavedam comes with, again, over 18 years of work experience, and he is currently the head HR for La Gajjar Machineries in Ahmedabad. He has expertise in strategic planning, professional benefits administration, labor laws, personal continuity, resource optimization, employee management, factory compliances, and corporate administration. He has previously worked with leading companies like Corona Remedies Private Limited, good name, and Okay, Genius Consultants Limited and Freezer Corporation. He is an MBA from Osmania University, Executive Program in Strategic HRM from IIM Trichy, and a certified in HR Audit from IIM Ahmedabad. Welcome, Mr. Samavedam. So this was, welcome. I welcome everyone in the audience as well who are participating in this, and there is a lot of things to learn from this distinguished panel members. So so what we are seeing that, the after effect of the pandemic is that there are some, we feel that there can be some super specialized work, jobs which will come up and will stay with us for long. At the same time, couple of manufacturing sectors have shown a high intent to hire in the coming quarters. So, if you can, I would request the panelists to, if you can share your respective industries and experiences while dealing with COVID, and how are the job trends and hiring sentiments which are shaping up for the coming quarter and might be for the next financial year as well. So I start this thing, and either of you can start, and then we can make it as a interactive session, right?
Okay, let me initiate the discussion, Indranil. First of all, thank you so much for inviting for this webinar with the team of quite esteemed guests on the panel members. Well, on the hiring sentiments, when the first wave initiated, we all were actually in dark and so uncertain how the things are going to shape up for the future. But then later on India could come out of the first wave successfully to an extent. But second wave was berserk, very, very dreadful. We lost so many people in that wave. So for the last 2 years, primarily in automobile sector, or any other sector also, coming from the garment export sector and primarily from the automotive and automobile sector, we have not seen recruitments. Rather, there were certain steps which organizations have taken to contain their costs. While supporting all the employees in those tough times, certain very strict measures have been taken to contain the cost. But now, as the market is opening up, the trend primarily in the automobile sector, the way the things are picking up for OEMs, and which has a positive impact on the tier 1, tier 2 suppliers as well. So we are seeing some light in this direction. Definitely, there is creation of jobs. We are coming up with huge projects in research and development with certain very advanced technologies to be introduced in India, going ahead with certain joint ventures with multinationals, and aftermarket sales is definitely picking up. So I'll say that we have been in negotiation with the top management to expand the human resource base to live up to the expectations of the coming up projects. So this sector definitely is showing some light for the employees, maybe the people who have lost their jobs in those times. Rather, we are also working up on some sort of program where we want to invite those people to come back to the job who might have taken break for certain other reasons, maybe maternity or maybe other certain personal reasons, primarily for our research and development center, which is operating out of Pune and Bangalore. So from the perspective of my organization and from the perspective of automobile and automotive sector, with EV coming up in a big way.
Big way, absolutely.
Big way, yeah. So this sector is definitely showing some light, though there is a shortage of components across the globe.
Across the globe, absolutely.
Yeah, across the globe at the moment. So that's a different struggle, but a lot of organizations are venturing into the EV sector. And we also have our own setup, which is now been registered in the name of Spark Minda Green Mobility. So it's coming up in a huge manner with a joint venture with Israel partnership and also with Korea. So there are plans, huge plans for technical experts to be hired.
Great to hear that, because obviously we all know that automobile and auto ancillaries are one of the biggest, job creators in manufacturing as a segment. So obviously, in case we are seeing a revival there, and then obviously that is a very good sign for the country as well, country as a whole. Absolutely.
I'd say this definitely will have a positive impact for the economy as a whole. We are struggling on various fronts when it comes to our economic growth of the nation. But yes, from perspective of this sector, I must say that we are looking for employees who are ready to contribute from the day one. And still we are actually getting into tie-ups with the colleges to hire fresh talent to support them to come up to speed with the requirements of the EV sector. So this is how means future plans we really, because these 2 years were a total lull in terms of recruiting people. It was a total lull period. We were just managing with our existing resources. So on the cost control measure, there were so many other programs were going on, but technological advancement was something which came to stall. Otherwise, we were just coping up to meet with the requirements and supporting supporting with technology to work from home, to support work from home options. Those were the primary concerns during
concerns, right?
Now the things are shaping up, and we just pray that India should stay protected from COVID third wave, and things should stay to come back to normalcy.
Absolutely, we all are hoping so.
Yeah.
Right. So, Mr. Banerjee, Mr. Mishra, anyone, if you can, give your inputs.
Okay, great to hear from Prableen that things are now looking up in the auto sector, because I was planning to buy a car in the Q4, but then suddenly I heard that Ford is going to close down their plant in Gujarat. So a lot of people have been put on the docks, Ford dealership people as well as the Ford manufacturing people. But anyway, let's not talk about negative things. Since I belong to an industry which is typically works with the infrastructure sector, which is in construction, mining, and giving backup energy support systems to a company like ONGC, Oil India, and various other organizations through our gas-based gensets or diesel-powered gensets. So post 2020 June, as I was telling Indranil, the time has not been too bad for us. It has not been a lull. We have honored all our recruitment plans, especially from the campuses. We just deferred their date of joining, but we honored all the campus recruitment offers we had made. We honored all the lateral hires that we had offered. We just deferred their dates of joining, say from Q2 to maybe Q3. But since we had made an offer to an individual and he or she would have resigned from his or her company before the pandemic hit, we didn't want them to be on the streets. So principally, we had taken a call that whatever offers we had rolled out, we'll honor each one of them. And everyone came on board, even the campus hires. So that way, we have been able to, yes, as Prableen said, it was slow, it was calibrated, it was staggered. But then, and it had a tail loading towards Q4 as things started looking up for us, because we work on a calendar year sort of time frame for our business goals and performance management cycles in line with Caterpillar. So therefore, our tail loading happened towards the Q4, where predominantly the lateral hires starting October started joining. So we had to face a bit of challenge in keeping them engaged, because they were worried, because a lot of companies are rolling back offers, a lot of companies or deferring offers by year and a half. So these guys are worried. They were without salaries for 2 to 3 months because they were running out of the salary which they saved. So we kept engaged with them. The earliest opportunity we got, we started getting them on board depending on the requirement of the organization. Even in 2021, we have had our campus recruitment done, and we have recruited people, and things are progressing as per our manpower plan, which we had done in 2021 beginning. So our engagement as far as recruitment or talent acquisition is concerned has been going on. In fact, the TA team is quite stretched, to be honest, and their main job is to yes, to control the cost of recruitment. And that has been a huge KRA or the KPI for the talent acquisition team. We are leveraging the social media. We are looking at employee referral programs. We are even incentivizing people if you can get a woman colleague into the company. We are putting a lot of emphasis on diversity, and especially in roles, even in underground mining. You'll be surprised to know where people have to go under the earth's surface.
Mhm.
We are getting young, talented women from the polytechnics and engineering colleges coming in, joining them.
Amazing.
Not that they'll be working underground always, but they are in an underground mine site in a Singareni or in ECL in Durgapur. So in Rajasthan, in Agucha. So we have a lot of these. We are seeing a huge shift in women professionals coming out of the stigma, the stereotyped work of only being in design, only being in computers, only being in electronics, and coming into core engineering. And they are willing to take up that challenge. And
Great.
that, and also an encouragement from the parents. But I wouldn't say if the parents supported them, they've been able to. So there's a shift in the socio-cultural way the kids are being brought up. So, and from even in the southern part of the country, in Telangana, we are seeing these young girls coming and saying, we want to work in underground mines. We have no problems. So that's a huge shift, and we're very encouraged. We're very happy, in fact, excited. And we've told our employees, if you can refer a lady or woman candidate and if he or she gets shortlisted, you get an additional bonus. So we are encouraging more and more women to come into the team. We want to increase the diversity ratio of the company. So exciting times for the talent acquisition team, because they're looking at various opportunities. Social media platforms in Indonesia is playing a major role now, be it the LinkedIn, be it the websites, and all these platforms, and employee referral programs. And we are continuing to engage with the management, with the engineering colleges, because we take predominantly engineers, diploma as graduate engineers. So we are constantly in touch with them and creating a employer branding there. Because what we are seeing is we will have various forms of engagement, not always permanent employees. You'll have gig employees also, and we are employing people who are in design. We are getting into manufacturing of Caterpillar equipment, as I told you. So we are equipment of design engineers, mechanical, electrical, and he or she can be based out of Bangalore and working for 4 hours with me.
Oh, great.
But my main challenge, Indranil, is while he or she works 4 hours with me and 4 hours maybe for Pravleen's company, he or she has to align with the culture and values of both the organizations.
Absolutely.
True. I think that is a challenge which we are, we
absolutely. So he has to be glued to my
workers.
organization, has to be glued to Harish's organization or Pravleen's organization. So managing this entire ecosystem of various forms of engagement is becoming a biggest challenge for HR, because now talent is available everywhere. I can recruit a guy who can work from home or work and give me deliverables operating out of Hyderabad or maybe Nagpur or maybe Shillong. But then how do I manage his or her productivity, keep him or her engaged, and keep him or her aligned to my culture and values? I think exciting times for HR. So that's where I want to stop and leave it to Ravindra and Harish to share their thoughts, please.
Good to hear that, because I am pleasantly, I would say pleasantly surprised that yes, that women workers are also, women engineers are also coming in front, for the core engineering this thing. Because I remember, there are many batchmates of mine who had joined engineering, and most of them wanted to be in either software or something, even after doing mechanical or electrical, right? And it is a very welcoming sign in that sense. Good to hear that, Mr. Banerjee.
Good. So good morning once again to everyone, and warm welcome. And I am also very happy to be here as a panel member amongst all of you. So with respect to future aspects, I think the most important thing what we have been facing in our industry, that business situation in terms of our top line and bottom line is relatively almost at same level what it used to be earlier. So from that point of view, that incremental growth, what we would have expected, certainly that's not there. And the major headwind what we are facing is in our domestic business. So things are, but still all out, all possible efforts are being made, and all the teams are working properly, and things are being planned out, and we'll see that in next few quarters how exactly we can span out. But coming mainly to HR and recruitment and other things, the most important thing in our case has been that our core value is family bond. So from that point of view, we have been providing all possible support in case of any sickness, in case of any kind of help what our team, our employees and their family have been needing. The last 1.5 years, right from onset of this COVID wave 1, we have been having a team of task force, complete team around the clock available for any hospitalization support or any kind of even vaccination support. I'm happy that as of now, as we speak, at least almost 100% of the employees have completed even second dose of vaccination as well. So that's a really good thing which we have been driving. In terms of recruitment, certainly we are very tight on that front in terms of our cost, because we have to manage our bottom line very well. So I would say in terms of recruitment, in our case, what we have been doing is only the replacements. So if there are certain people who have left for some other region, and I think those resignations and that attrition is happening recently in during last 4-5 months. In last financial year, during F21, last financial year, as I said, that attrition was relatively far lower. It was as low as 3 to 4% compared with any other normal year when we used to have a normal industry of around 10 to 12%. So from that point of view, even now also attrition is little on higher side. There are certain people who are able to get some opportunity here and there, and that's quite natural as well. So our recruitment efforts and our talent acquisition team is working only on replacement positions rather than any new or additional positions. So that's not the requirement. We are quite tight on that. We will see and open up some additional recruitment only when we see that some incremental growth in terms of business is happening. But profitability is the key, and we, as per our strategy, it's very important for us, and we follow very seriously is that if top line increment is X% growth, then bottom line growth must be minimum 2X. So that's the rule what we follow. So from that point of view, as far as our fixed cost or overhead expenses are concerned, those are tightly controlled. Those are not the things that we can allow that to happen. The good part is that few years back we had built the good team right from top to bottom, good organization which can support good incremental growth as well. So as such, organization is very much there, and we are able to manage within existing workforce what we have, and that's how things are happening. But as of now, I think Ganesh festival is on in Maharashtra here in Pune, as everyone would know that it's a hub for Ganesh festival and those type of things. We are still cautioning all our employees and family members to be very careful, not to let guards off, not to be roaming around in the markets and moving around and going to the crowded places. Avoid as far as possible they can, because that looming fear of wave 3 is always there. Some experts are saying it may come in October. Some people are saying it may come in December and Jan next year. So let's hope and pray that those things don't come so soon, or we are not going to face with that kind of thing. And I think the only thing what we have in our hand is the complete vaccination and still follow all the possible measures.
Protocols, absolutely.
Protocols. So we have SOP, what we call it. So those protocols are quite essential. As we say, COVID appropriate behavior as well. So that's also the term which is used quite popularly. So these are the things which we are having in our task force team. It's headed by top management people, and all of us participate in that. We have those meetings even now also twice in a week. Earlier we used to have almost every day. Then we reduced to 3 days a week. Now we are having 2 days a week, and we are stressing every now and then to all our people to follow all the protocols and be strict on that, because we do come to know and we hear from people here and there that despite having both the doses, people are still getting infected with COVID. There is no guarantee as such for COVID not to happen. The only consolation what everyone is having and experts are saying that with
It might
the
not be
doses,
as bad as without
yeah,
vaccine.
as bad as that, or if for some or other reason people get infected with COVID, at least they will not become very serious and may not need very hospitalization, ICU, or the worst case of death or something that may not happen. So that's the only thing what people are saying. So we have to still maintain all the possible precautions and see to it that things are
Absolutely. Absolutely.
going good. So I think that's all that at this point of time, Indranil. As we go forward, I will be happy to pitch in.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mishra. Harish, your points, and then we'll move to the next question, mate.
Thank you. See, everybody explained most of the things what manufacturing is going through. Let me put into 4 different corners where this is all coming to. First thing, handling people at the factory level, because most of these factories what we are running are having manpower which are with us for last 8-9 years. Somebody are more than 15 years working in the same organization. Issue is that since people are there, production has to run, but finished good products are getting piling up, the inventory is going up because the sale in the market is not coming as desired. The sentiment in the market is affecting people. And now as a country, we are having 4 different corners where the sale is very different. East is different, as such the senior has told. Similarly, West is different. North is behaving very different, and South is again having its own kind of an idea how these products will be sold. So this is affecting overall production, and handling these people is something which is very important, because these people are, when the plant was running 100% and more with all the capacity, they used to earn a lot. Nowadays, the plants are running at 65%, 62%. Sometimes they are at 55% also, depending upon the need. They are all worried what will happen. Second, sales team. Sales team, which is already there in the market, they had a very horrible time last year. Considering the kind of COVID wave that has happened, many of them got affected also by moving in the market. Incentives were not coming on time, variable payment were not coming on time. They are all worried what will happen. Suddenly, when second wave has come, their morale is down. As an HR, there is a lot of job in picking up their morale and seeing that they are also been taken care. Third, the management. Management is having a lot of dependency on HR after this pandemic has set in. Till time, HR was only in the backside. Now management looks to us and understands what we are trying to say. They also come to us with problems looking for a solutions, which is become a common tendency to see that the top line and bottom line have been taken care. Overall business is there, which is directly proportional to the manpower. Fourth important thing, HR as a team. Our team is getting stressed out because like seniors have told in the meeting right now, that T&D activities are drying down, R&R activities are drying down. Employee salaries, sometimes what is happening, we are paying salaries in 2 different times. Paying some 80% now and 20% on 20th to see that the P&L has been taken care. So people are questioning us back, people are asking us back. Indirectly, the team itself, which is working here, also going through the same issues. There are 4 different aspects which I found are very challenging. But good thing is that whatever we are trying to do, looking at the production side, one thing we understood, communicating to these people is very important, which we started immediately after second day got set in. We are telling them where the product is, where the finished goods are there, where company is having a difficulty, and we are throwing them challenges, how we can go out of this, what are the new design thing they can look into. So we are production there. Sales team, we are putting them in place. In fact, not only them, to all the employees, we cover term insurances. We have taken extra cost of term insurance, which was not there. It was around 10 lakhs, which we increased to almost 1 crore now for an employee. The pandemic has taught us. So we are giving them that assurance, family assurances, doing regular calls and all that. Management side, what we understood, if the business picks up, the management itself will be very normal. So we are making sure that we are driving the first 2 people such that business gets picked up. Finally, to the team of HR, it's a duty of me seeing that every day I'm meeting them, doing a morning meeting, understanding their concerns, and see that I am driving them through. And whatever doubts I am having, I am also speaking to my senior there. Or I started doing a lot of peer networking, in fact. So that is also helping understanding what is happening in the market, where people are moving. Most important challenge, what everybody said here, is that the increment part. Last year, appraisals were stopped or not been paid fully or been given some kind of incentive. This year, by compulsory, appraisal has to be given. Otherwise, good manpower was about to go. When appraisals are given, people were not happy, saying that those saal ke baad appraisal hai, but the appraisal is not right. Educating them, giving them an idea, still churning out of manpower has happened. Then understanding that we need to support them, making sure that they are the brand ambassadors going outside the company to see that they are not being rubbed on the wrong side. So they have been taken care well. New manpower has been recruited within the budget. There are many things which has happened. But one thing, manufacturing as a sector, what it has done very clearly, that it has given a hope to many other departments like pharmaceuticals or FMCG, whatever we speak about, that whatever the pandemic has taken shape, that manufacturing has stood up and see that it has faced it on its face. So employees are coming to the factories, we are managing municipalities, health people, manufacturing was on, people are getting it. FMCG followed it immediately. They also started doing all the things. So that helped as a country to come back to the normal regular course. Still, there are many challenges suffered. This has given a good lesson to us. There will be a lot of unknown things which will be going to come. So a lot of forcing is happening and a lot of investment is happening. Good thing is what we are all looking into is Q3 now. So this is what I can say, the 4 points which I noted as a manufacturing sector.
Absolutely.
More thing which I want to tell to all the people who are listening this particular webinar, due to stress, the kind of calls, the kind of anxiety that got built up, because every HR would have got a call saying that, sir, ये लड़के को COVID हो गया, इसको सांस नहीं मिल रहा है, इसको ऑक्सीजन नहीं है, इसको रेमडेसिविर इंजेक्शन नहीं मिल रहा है. We are all getting into a lot of anxiety. यार क्या हो जाएगा? Because HR has become an unknown COVID warrior. Many people accept if they put their hand on their heart. That we are all trying this because जो भी management support करेगी, but drive हम ही लोग कर रहे थे.
Correct.
To the end of vaccination, which is happening right now, building a vaccination, trying them to come to the vaccination, taking our own team getting vaccinated, showing them nothing will happen, getting our family vaccinated, telling them this is not going to happen. So HR has become a COVID warrior. In this, recognition and the kind of support which a HR need to get was somewhere diminished from everywhere. They are never taken HR that serious in this part. I request listening people here, the stakeholders, to understand HR department is the first department which has stood up in seeing that people are coming up. We are dealing with people. Many of my known HRs were having depression and anxiety issues during these times. They were all consulting psychologists to come out of it because they are listening many things. A lot of noise was happening. Second thing, most of the HRs have laid down their lives in fighting out this pandemic. So production में एक लड़के को issue था, उसको corona था. And what has happened? Nobody was there. Municipality was not coming. One of my guy went him and admitted in hospital. He got contacted with corona, and he had very low immunity. He passed away. He was trying to help something. So I think HR was also a COVID warrior, which I can openly say in this forum, and they were doing a lot of jobs. Somewhere the recognition was not coming, which is then really need to deserve. I'm not saying in manufacturing, everywhere. Thank you.
I totally agree, Harish. I think that is something which everywhere the HR has done, the way they have been pushing people and, explaining it to them at different levels, starting from a worker, who is coming to the assembly line and going up to the level of a senior management. I totally agree. Very balancing act. Okay, we have some paucity of time, so we'll move to the next point, So now what we are understanding that with the pay parity, we are talking about the flexible manpower. We had been, I think somebody raised that point also, gig workers. I think Mr. Banerjee raised that point.
Yeah.
So now with the pay parity between this permanent and flexible workforce, specifically at at a ground level, what we see that it is hardly 5% now. So how do you think that adoption of this flexible workforce in manufacturing, it will be there in coming times? How it will, because we know that there have been a lot of manufacturing activity which happens with the flexible workforce, but now this pay parity is also a question mark now, where the difference is hardly 5 to 7% might be. So how exactly it will pan out? What are your views in that? So we have some paucity of time. I would request all the panelists to keep it short and crisp. I know it's a very interesting subject, but if you can keep it bit short and crisp.
I will give you a very short answer in 2 minutes.
Okay.
To counter this, manufacturing, we had an idea which is started implementing 3 months time. We identified people who are very skilled. They are with us for last 15 years. So we made them an individual supplier to us. As a vendor, we registered them, and we had job outsourced the product to them directly.
Okay.
By the way, we are generating different vendors.
It's truly interesting.
They are becoming self-employed, and they are getting employees reported to them, and they are supplying the material to us. For us, we are paying for the end product. That's all.
Okay, great. That is something,
So this is a kind of gig working we are trying to do. We are building some people who actually can get themselves self-employed. Thank you.
Great, great.
Yeah, in our case, in Neil, I think in manufacturing, core manufacturing, all these ideas seem to be little difficult to implement en masse, because we will need workforce 24/7 fully committed. Now we certainly have certain R&D and new product development kind of teams, and there certain expertise are needed, for which we certainly hire certain people for some assignment, on certain product development. And those experts are either from within India or from overseas and global locations as well. And that has been working for last several years, and that will continue to work. Having this gig worker in our kind of setup, I find it little difficult to envisage in near future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair point.
So just to emphasize here, Indranil, well, there are so many reports by eminent organizations where this point is so well highlighted, that very large corporations are actually looking forward to this kind of arrangement, where they are promoting flexible workers with them. Yeah.
Right.
And the reason is very obvious. Last year during the COVID, this point is coming up in discussion again and again, but that's very true that during the COVID, all the manpower plan, recruitment plans, everything
Went for a toss.
just went for a toss.
Absolutely.
So just in so much of uncertain times, means it was beyond comprehension. But that was a time which actually forced big employers or big corporations to think how we can give a better working environment, better skills, at the same time optimize the cost as well. So what are the long-term arrangements? What are the short-term arrangements? If you go through the US economy, certain Asian countries like Singapore, Japan. So there are so many reports which are coming up where they are trying to promote the flexible workers.
Absolutely.
And also in some cases, if we'll see, flexible workers were generally on a contract for a period, maybe 1 year or 2 years.
Right.
They're also at less risk to lose the assignment fast. Then the permanent workers who have long-term, who are employed with the organization with long-term added benefits. So when we know this particular skill and this is the time period of the contract, he's going to go within that time. So there's no liability. But at the same time, in a market like Indian economy, we need to create balance for both.
Absolutely.
So in setups like research and development, even in the new product development, certain departments which have been highlighted here in discussion, that's true that for certain projects, you need specialized talent, and that talent comes for the cost. And for such special projects, there are some arrangements which definitely we are also thinking of it, how to run such projects, which are short-term projects, and after what to do with that particular skill. So if you will go through TCS, HCL, so many of these research and development centers, we find the combination, the people are hired for special projects, and after that, they are no more with them. But those are actually those particular kind of capabilities available in the market who are hired for premium rates, and they are hotcakes.
Absolutely.
We are struggling a lot in our R&Ds where we are looking for specific skills, but those are not available in the market. And you get them on the premium rates and under a special kind of setup like engineering services. A special talent is hired for a specific period of time for special project, and that's it. So a lot of balance needs to be established in this particular area when it comes to Indian economy. So in the manufacturing sector, where the labor is available on the shop floors, and that workforce is always a mix of flexible and permanence. But then going to the white collars, where we have not noticed such trend, that we will be having a manpower which is going to be a mix of gig workers or flexible workers or permanent workers. So specific to the manufacturing sector, this trend is definitely a little slow at the moment for this particular sector, primarily for the manufacturing setups, which are in production houses. On the other hand, when it comes to the research and development, where there's a lot of innovation required, a lot of new projects are coming up to foray into EV market, we are seeing that this trend is picking up. And that's a need of the hour, because you don't get such talent easily available in the market. So there we are witnessing the trend is definitely picking up, but not primarily due to the pay parity reasons. It is primarily due to the skill set availability. So we are facing shortage of skill set, the longevity of the employee, because you will be surprised that the way the wage rates or the salary rates have increased for these workers.
Right, for high, these people are in high demand.
Absolutely, highly sellable, and they are changing jobs. You're not getting the skill set easily, and they are having 3 offers at a time. They're negotiating so hard, and it's so difficult to hire them.
Absolutely.
It's becoming a very competitive market for such skill set. And there, yes, we are having plans to just define those roles where we may be looking for some flexible workers who can contribute.
Sure.
They are not bounded with us also. They can work on different projects with different organizations. At the same time, they can actually contribute a lot to the organization in terms of cost and availability of the skill set. So this needs to be balanced, I believe.
Absolutely. So we did a small, poll as well, something similar to this. What will be the effect of pandemic boosted technological advancement on jobs in manufacturing sector? So we got a reasonably good number of votes, but I was slightly surprised that, almost 1/3 of the people felt that automation will take away their jobs. Another third they also felt that yes, new roles, will also emerge, and more flexible workforce is another one. It was almost, 33% each. So I would request, if, as a panelist, you can add on to this, what exactly are your thought process?
Yeah, sure, Indrail, I think great point and quite interesting. As far as level of automation or degree of automation in manufacturing sector is concerned, certainly it will gather a pace, it will have a good momentum now. And I would say it's a need of the hour. As far as taking away the job is concerned, let's be mindful of one particular fact which I would like to share with everyone. The share of manufacturing in terms of GDP in the country was close to 20%, in 1992, and it was same 20% 20 years later in 2012 as well.
That's right.
Whereas in these 20 years, the GDP had grown 4 times. So even though the share is same, it means size has grown 4 times. Now, even let's talk current situation as well. That we say that manufacturing share in terms of GDP in the country as of now is close to 16 or 17%. And every one of us is aware that 50% of total 16% comes from automobiles only, either auto OEMs or auto ancillaries and all these auto components, those type of things. And the growth, CAGR and the yearly growth, per annum growth in terms of automobile and manufacturing sector is quite significant. So even if we talk about, say, 8 to 10% or 12%, or let's say even 8% to be on lower side, if that kind of growth is happening in terms of GDP and in terms of manufacturing sector, then certainly I don't see any reason to worry about jobs. And I think there will be ample opportunities, and to remain competitive in the market, I think it's very important for us to go towards automation and certainly fast pace, better utilization of technology, digitalize a lot of processes in terms of business processes, and even in terms of automating some of the manufacturing processes, so that skilled labor is available for certain new capex investment and for certain new things. So I think it will be certainly a good thing, and I think great opportunity for our country and nation to grab with and to work towards that. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Banerjee, your points, please. If you can, your views on this.
I would agree to a large extent in terms of the poll output. Automation will take away jobs is not the right way of putting it. Yes, the pandemic has compelled us to look at automation in a faster pace than what we were envisaged or what we are preparing ourselves from. Yes, a lot of these mundane, repetitive jobs. I have worked in the automobile sector, Tata Motors, years back, and there are quite a few operations which are typically repetitive in nature, doesn't require too much of skill, and therefore that can be replaced. Even you have robots who will do it, or you will have much advanced automation handling those repetitive nature of jobs. But as Mr. Mishra was saying, that gives an opportunity of taking that labor out and skilling them in something else, which will make them employable. So a lot of effort will have to be made by the skill development ecosystem in partnership with the organization, the industry bodies, in scaling up the skills of people. So a lot of these mundane jobs or repetitive, unskilled jobs will now be handed over to the automated environment, and there'll be a skill requirement or in terms of skilling up the people. And there, as skills go up, automatically you pay for skills. As Prableen was talking about, there is a shortage of skills, especially in the design, R&D, that space. And therefore, there you'll find a lot of people preferring a gig engagement. They might be there, so I've just got 5 years, I'll work for 5 years, 10 years, make some money and walk out. I may have a 3 days a week relationship with Minda and 4 days a week with someone else. And so be it, as long as I deliver my product or my output. So therefore, we will pay for skills now. We actually pay for skills, and yes, maintaining the parity within the organization, the permanent people and the temp or whatever people you want to call them, gig economy workers, though they come with least amount of social security benefits and assurances of employment, because they are on a contractual term for a fixed period or a fixed project. Whereas your permanent employees enjoy a better security network. So you will have 2 sets of compensation designs or 3 sets of compensation design for different employees working in the ecosystem. So compensation designs will be same, different. So you might have a lower fixed pay, higher variable, depending on their output. Here, maybe the difference between fixed and variable may be a bit different. So you'll have to have different compensation designs, different HR policies to govern their forms of employment for people who will be on a contractual basis. But In the manufacturing sector, as all my colleagues have said, it will take a bit of time for gig workers to come in. We've already had contractual workers that has been a part of the manufacturing industry ecosystem. They have existed, they'll continue to exist, but only maybe we'll have to upskill them a bit more.
Great. So now another interesting point, which I'm listening, that lot of digitization happening across across industries, across in terms of, even if you talk about manufacturing, so with this increasing digitization, we are going to see a lot of influx in terms of workforce related data, which will keep coming to us, right? And as an HR fraternity, I would like to understand that the role of HR analytics, obviously will go, and it will increase substantially in coming times. This is one of the changes which I think Mr. Banerjee was also mentioning, that technology has taken that forefront, which could have taken 5 years. It has happened in 1.5 years, right? So how the HR leaders are looking to use this HR analytics, and to manage the workforce, specifically in manufacturing sector. So because this is something which is very interesting, and because a lot of data which is coming in, and how exactly we are going to utilize this data. So anyway, yes, Harish, I think you're saying
Let me add on that.
Sure.
It's now compulsory for an HR to know what is Excel.
What is? Sorry?
Excel.
Okay.
You should know what is MS Access. Okay. These two are basic primary tools and HR should always know. Without this, they cannot live. Second thing, when you are presenting something to the management, or in fact to the employees also, you should have a data which will show what is right.
Correct.
So it's an important part. Not to manufacturing, it is very important because we deal with large chunk of manpower. We got volumes of manpower where the manpower is divided into skilled, unskilled, and semi-skilled. So HR analytics is very important point which a HR should always have. Hence, you understand there is a courses that have been run by IIM also on this. So this is the only tool which will help us to understand where is our manpower at present and where we'll be going from here. It will help us to do a lot of skill developments. It will help us to do a lot of reward recognition programs. It will help us in planning, succession planning in the system. It will also help us to understand performer, non-performer very clearly out. So I can tell you one thing, without analytics, HR cannot run right now. The books thing and discussing from a particular document is gone. Now data is something which is very important, which everybody is looking into.
Absolutely.
So I have a person here who does this. He is called HRMIS and his only job is to see this.
Okay, great.
That is so true also with HR digitization. Digitization of HR processes has been in place for a longer period of time. But what has come up now is HR analytics. Yeah, so the things which we are using on Excel or manual, with the big size of organization, large corporations where there are multiple plants, diverse workforces, how to understand the sentiments of the workforce, how to understand the talent gaps existing in the organization to support the business of the organization. So such tools which my colleague has just mentioned, those are not only necessary for the marketing and project managers today, but those are extremely important for HR to work very, very effective HR business partner to contribute to the business. So that has also given a tangible role to the HR. Generally, in the beginning of my career, when we used to approach managers for learning and development initiatives, so the one question which used to come up, what is ROI on that? Why I have to spare my manpower for a training program like this? So today it's a different scenario altogether. Today they appreciate, they understand it, what is the importance of these functions, and with HR analytics taking shape and being used in the organization, the tangible outcomes are possible now. So we can also present to the management how effectively we are contributing to the business. So I think so it is very, very important and critical today to get into habit of using HR analytics as an effective tool. So it really helps in varied ways. Monitoring.
Absolutely.
employee
Mr.
performance.
Banerjee, I think you have a hard stop at 12. So if you can, give your inputs and yes.
Yeah.
HR analytics is the norm. Basically, it's no more a fancy.
Correct.
It's no more a fancy. You need to have it in place, and it helps us take the management or even the HR folks a much more informed decision about people. Be it in terms of predictive analysis, be it in terms of based on existing data points, in terms of understanding trends. In fact, with unstructured data, also with machine learning, you can do a lot of predictive data. In terms of going through a CV, you can also predict the how long will the person being staying with the organization. There's some unstructured words which you figure out from the CV, and from where you see a logic and algorithm is developed based on which you can figure out. So HR analytics is going to a new stage of a new scale of advancement, and it helps us to keep our decisions about people more data driven, more fact based, and it diminishes or reduces the subjective element. Subjectivity will remain when you talk about demonstrated behaviors or demonstration of competencies, but then data can substantiate a lot of decision making process and make it more objective for the management to talk about people. People decisions cannot be based only on numbers, but numbers actually funnelize or bring about some sort of sanctity into a decision, because it throws up information to you which is objective. So I think analytics is going to play a major role, and all HR folks of across generations have to migrate from Excel or an MS Access to understanding what artificial intelligence or machine learning will be, because you'll have now chatbots talking to you for your talent acquisition team, even 24/7. Your talent acquisition team may be sleeping in the night, but somebody applying from Mexico or Brazil, you need to have 24/7 chatbot interacting with your potential employees and give them an experience about the organization, because that's what they want to experience. You'll have chatbots on your intranet which will talk to your employees and give them an experience and answer them on various queries, which maybe you relieve your HR people from answering those queries and take away their productive time and make them work on much more value-added work. So you will have employee engagement platforms within the intranet or the internal network, which is going to be based on technology. So technology will play a very, very important role in managing people in a much more sophisticated environment and handle them better and handle different generations of employees across the company accordingly, based on using the technology tools. That's my submission.
That's true. It is promoting actually a sort of organizational, I would say organizational network analysis, very beautifully being put across that it is actually a structured way to visualize how communication, how information and decisions are flowing through an organization. So it really helps to even gauge the kind of interactions are happening between the employees and who to connect to whom for better understanding, for better positioning, for better onboarding of a new employee even. So that really gives great insight into the organization, into the sentiments of the people, how they are taking the culture of the organization, how well positioned the value system of the organization is, and how people are connected to the culture of the organization. So it really gives insights into a lot of perspectives, not only recruitments, trainings, but beautifully put across the culture. I was just spending some time with a recruiter who are using this artificial intelligence and analytics, and they said that it is helping us so much that to analyze the CV which is being sent to us, just by gauging, understanding certain words, it pops up the graph and helps us understand the psychology of the person who has sent the profile and how long he's going to be stable with the next employer. So it is going to that level of gauging and understanding of the data points, which is definitely incredible.
Helps you to study the attrition trend and take predictive decisions on how the attrition is moving from which pocket of the organization. So it throws up a lot, slices and dices information and helps you to take much more informed decisions and improves the employee experience in terms of engagement quotient with the organization. That's what I feel.
Yeah, absolutely echo all the views expressed by everyone. In Renilo, one very interesting anecdote what I can share, that one of my colleagues in some organization was sharing with me confidentially that while analyzing the responses to the mail through this HR analytics tool, they are able to gauge or judge and preempt probable attrition in next 3 months to 6 months. Okay, because someone who is absolutely engaged has been very prompt, very responsive, and something like that. All of a sudden, perhaps person has slowed down or something has happened and psychologically not very much connected. So he starts moving towards disengagement, and then they are able to preempt those kind of things. They are able to, line manager and HR manager, they are able to have some dialogue and discussion, and they are able to preempt that. So even to those extent things are happening.
Absolutely.
And Indranil, just to add to all this discussion, we were discussing about the digitization and the flexible workforce. A very important subject which has come up in a big way is psychological safety of the employees. These times have really brought this subject to the fore, that how we in our Indian organizations are working on the psychological safety of the employee. So
Absolutely. I think that
so
was something which was missing. And, I think that is one of the biggest positives of COVID, which it has taught us. And, and we are coming out of that shadow, talking about, our mental health. I think that is very important. And HR has played a very, very important role there. No doubt about that.
I think so, yeah. So emotional intelligence, the subject of emotional intelligence has become
Correct.
so very important with the leaders, with the peers, with the subordinates working in the organization. So to still casting themselves through such uncertain times, and then dealing with day-to-day challenges, be on the personal front or the professional front, has been extremely taxing, extremely
Correct.
taxing.
Correct.
Employees, they are working from home, children, they are sitting at home and studying, females who are busy with their professional responsibilities and personal responsibilities. So those have been challenging times for everyone. So though there are so many topics, so many discussions which are happening on how the workforce would look like in the future, but definitely we as an Indian organizations have to work in a big way on creating such psychological safety networks within the organization, where we can have people on whom an employee can depend on in the tough times. So this is very important, which has definitely come.
So I think we are running short of time. I will pick one interesting question which has come from the audience, that and specifically it is very interesting for manufacturing as a sector, because earlier days, there was not much of talk about work from home or 5 days a week or maybe 3 days a week, something like that. But now these talks are, everywhere, work from home and everything. And I'm sure there are, when you see that at an head office level, there are scenarios and where they are talking about 3 days a week or rotational this thing. How exactly, how the HR is playing a role to, in manufacturing setup specifically, how the workers attitude had been, and how exactly you have been able to handle that? Because these talks were earlier happening, at a very, very nominal level, but now it is like everywhere across. So this is one question which I think would request your inputs.
Yeah, so I think in the most important thing which for last 1.5 years we have been communicating, I think communication, good interaction, frequent interactions at different level by line managers, by top management team with workers and supervisory workforce, which is in quite large in numbers. I think
Absolutely.
that certainly helps. But another thing which everyone has to notice, and what we have been communicating, that the sales people or even corporate people, for them, if they are working from home or working from market or traveling somewhere, only location of work has changed. So they are still working and contributing. So I think towards the larger success of the organization, everyone has to work. As far as plants are concerned, those plants are based in plants only and machinery is there. We can't be taking those machinery at anybody's home and producing the material. Okay. So that's certainly not possible. So in the larger interest of the organization, they also have to understand that if a plant is running, we are able to sell our product, we are able to generate top line and bottom line, then only organization success is sustainable and we can live with. Otherwise, everybody will go for a toss without top line,
Absolutely.
bottom
Very
line,
fair.
things
Very fair.
can't happen. So
Very fair.
I think they don't need to be taken for granted. They don't need to be ignored, but with proper thorough communication in a structured manner at different level certainly helps. And they also understand that they also need a job. They also need to work towards prosperity and the growth of the organization. As long as it's a win-win situation and it's communicated very well and properly done, I think it certainly helps. There are no problems on that.
So definitely in the manufacturing sector, Ravindra has highlighted these points. The critical operation like production on the shop floor is something which cannot be done on work from home basis. But keeping all the nuances in view, we have worked around agile working policy, which is in vogue in IT sector or the services sector. But for manufacturing sector, we are in process of identifying certain pockets of the profiles who can definitely continue to work from home. Even today, when the offices are on, still we have our R&D people, we have our certain specialists sitting in the corporate or other divisions who are continuing to work from home. There's still such facilities are available. Still, COVID related, certain special provisions which were made during the past times and which are still continuing, they are in place. But that time has certainly opened a new way of working for all of us. In the manufacturing also, it has been appreciated in a big way that when the workers are ensuring delivery, right? So I think it has been quite feasible to have that policy in place. So it is that when the arrangement is flexible, working hours have been introduced in the manufacturing, which was not a practice. They can take off based on certain provisions which have been listed in the policy, which can be termed as work from home. So such provisions have been created for the manpower.
Great.
Which was earlier not in place. But now, yeah, this pandemic has opened new ways of working, new thought process. I think so it has given us a new perspective of looking at our traditional way of working. That's the difference it has made. So such that policy is existing and employee can take benefit of work from home under that policy. Like if the Saturdays are not off at some places, so that he can opt for work from home on Saturdays. So such small provisions have been introduced in the manufacturing sector, but yes, it still has to go a long way and it has to be appreciated by both employer and employee.
Employees, absolutely true. Harish, your points, I think, and after that we will close because I think
yes. In fact, I am replying some Q&As which are coming. Most of the Q&As are related to salary, related to government putting stress on the manufacturing industry to do the vaccination and all that. See, one thing which I did in my company is that we did a lot of town halls on the company present status, P&L status, where the company is moving and all that, such that people are very clear regarding the company's status of affairs is concerned. Second thing, government related things, vaccination is something which we have taken upon our own, but COVID leaves and all that are now presently managed by a policy which has been defined by us. There are many other options which people are putting questions. New labor code, specific manufacturing sector. This is not in line, but you can always go through the labor code which are available in various forums. Factory Act and everything is the same. There are some small changes here and there regarding leaves and all that, which you can go into it and you can study. Poultry industry and edible oil industry, see, this is only time will tell. I can tell you very straight, only time will tell. It's completely upon people and most importantly, how your customers, consumers are acting towards your product. That will only help, and how your company is giving them an awareness of going into this product. Most importantly, being in HR, we have another job which we need to always look into. Mr. Nataraj was asking this. See, cost reduction or cost control measures is something which you can always propose to the management. Looking into the overall requirement of people coming to the office and looking into the amount of electricity, power consumption and other requirements. You can make an MIS and show to them if you're working for 5 days a week or giving them 3 days of work from home, how effectively the bottom line can be improved. I think management will allow you in getting it done. So you should not be worried about it. It's only that is what HR analytics understanding situation will help us in getting the things more clearer. Finally, one thing is for sure, third wave will come. The serious, if you see the Spanish flu or the 1970s flu, it will come, but the graph will go and down. So first wave, we were all going through this. Second wave, we were unexpected, but I can tell you, third wave, everybody is anticipating. So things will not be bad. Things will be much improved than what happened in first and second. People are now very much aware. Yes, five fingers are not same, so everybody will not be the same. But yes, most of the things will be under control. Let us be very positive. Being in HR, it is our main important duty to be positive, giving positive vibes everywhere. So third wave may come, may go. Important thing is that our industry should flourish. Manufacturing is the heart of everything, I should say. We are part of 2-3 revolutions, in fact. So nothing to worry about. Automation part also. I am telling you very straight, there is a study which has happened for 2050 and 2070 also. When automation comes, number of employment will increase because more skilled manpower is needed. Any machine cannot work on its own. Manpower has to be very much skilled. So people need to make sure the skill is getting developed. Used all forums. You can see nowadays on Times of India, there are many advertisements coming on the front sheet itself on many skill development which are happening online. Try to utilize it. Get your employees getting into it. And also make sure that you are giving a positive vibe. Make sure that in our places, COVID protocols have been followed, if it is there or not there, because that will help us to avoid many other vertiborne diseases also. This is what I must say. Let us end this with a very positive note. Manufacturing sector should do a good job, which many of the surveys, which one of that is TeamLease that itself has done in Q3, Q4, they had given a good revival in the manufacturing sector along with other sectors. And second thing, vaccination is 75% completed. Times of India front page news today.
Front page news.
No, 75%. That's a big kudos.
Yes, and hospitals, everybody is in fact, we are equipped to handle COVID better now. So don't worry, we'll be doing a great job. Only thing is that keeping good people together, giving them a hope, giving them a good idea, having a management confidence is what we all should work in. Thank you.
True. I am absolutely in agreement with this, that yes, whatever the scenario is, the future is very positive. We have learned our lessons through the past first and the second phase, and we are well prepared this time. And vaccination is happening at a very fast pace. Our request will be to everyone that we should be following our COVID appropriate protocols, even if when we see that the numbers are going down, still we have to keep following that, so that we can avoid a fiasco. That is the only request which I also have to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mishra. Thank you, Ms. Kaur. Thank you, Harish. I think it was a very interesting webinar. I would say that, and it was a huge learning for all of us. And thanks a lot for your time and which you have spared for us. And thank you. Thanks a lot.